Mary Parker Follett. She was an American social worker, management consultant, and a pioneer in the field of organizational theory and organizational behavior. She has been called as the mother of modern management. Instead of emphasizing industrial and mechanical components, she advocated people as the most valuable commodity present with any business. She is regarded as a bridge between the classical approach and the behavioral human relations approach to organization. Unlike other contemporary theorists, she viewed organization as a social system and administration as a social process. She highlighted for the first time the sociological and psychological dimension of administration and management. She brought out the human dimension of organization and pointed out that the role of situational factors on organizational behavior. M.P. Follett is often looked as the precursor or the forerunner of the behavioral human relations approach to organizational analysis. She also criticized the classical theory of administration mainly for its mechanical approach and for neglecting socio-psychological dimensions of organizational behavior. Her major works include The Speaker of the House of Representatives, The New State, Creative Experience, Dynamic Administration. The various concepts and principles enunciated by M.P. Follett are as following: conflict and integration, the concept of giving orders, a new concept of power, authority and responsibility, leadership, and planning and coordination. Now let's discuss her following concepts in detail. Conflict and integration. According to Follett, conflicts in an organization are inevitable due to individual differences. Conflict is not warfare, but it is only an appearance of differences of opinions and interest among different categories of people in an organization. Hence, conflict should be conceived as not wasteful and harmful, but as a normal process and should be handled in a constructive way. She also propounded the concept of constructive conflict, which constitutes a positive approach to the resolution of conflict in order to realize organizational goals. She suggested three ways for resolving conflict in an organization, which is through domination, in which victory of one side is over the other; through compromise, in which both sides surrender some part of what they want; and through integration, in which a new solution is found which satisfy the real needs of both the sides and neither of the sides sacrifice anything. Out of the three, Follett considered integration as the best way of resolving conflict due to its merit, as it includes or resolves once and for all the original conflict as it goes to the root of the problem. It also makes use of better techniques and saves times and resources. And it also leads to the emergence of new values and develops a new situation. Integration, the most satisfying way to end conflict, is not the easiest way. According to Follett, there are several obstacles to it. Firstly, it requires a high degree of intelligence, keen perception and discrimination, and a brilliant inventiveness which are rare among administrators. Secondly, most people are habituated to enjoy domination over others, and people theorize instead of suggesting active steps. And obsession of managers with power, and most of them try to get power over. And the most important obstacle to integration is that people are not trained in making integration. According to Follett, giving of order is not a simple affair, as people often resent being bossed over. Therefore, the job of a superior is not merely giving orders, but he should also learn to manipulate subordinates so that they can accept orders without questioning. Habit patterns, mental attitudes, time, place, and circumstances are important variables governing both giving and receiving of orders. And according to Follett, she believed that one should avoid the two extremes, that is, too much of bossism in giving orders and practically not giving orders at all. Therefore, she suggested depersonalizing the giving of orders, which will ultimately unite all concerned in a study of the situation and to discover the law of the situation and obey that. And in this way, Nobody gives order to anybody. Both accept the orders given by the situation. Therefore, order should come from an action and not action from orders. This is depersonalization of orders or exercise of authority of the situation. Like other classical thinkers, she also accepted the need for giving of orders in the organization. In fact, she even suggested the 4 steps in giving of orders. Firstly, a conscious attitude, in which one know the different principles which underline giving of orders. A responsible attitude, to identify those principles which should become the basis of giving orders. Thirdly, an experimental attitude, to make experiments to analyze the success or failure of orders. And fourthly, a result attitude, to pool the result to change the extent and manner of giving orders if the existing method are found insufficient or are not working enough. New concept of power. According to Follett, power is the ability to make things happen, to be a causal agent to initiate change. She also distinguished between power over and power with. Power over is less advantageous than power with because it means asserting oneself and forcing another to do one's will. It often leads to resentment and reaction. However, it cannot be get rid of and hence should be reduced. The ways of reducing power over according to Follett are by the use of integration, that is the solution that meets the real needs of both the sides, the correct use of circular behavior, that is a transactional way, and the use of the law of the situation, that is by depersonalizing the giving of orders. Follett said that the superior does not share power with his immediate subordinates, but he can give them opportunities for developing their own powers. He can encourage them to integrate their activities so as to achieve jointly developed power. In this way, power with leads to more power than power over. And ultimately, power with is more advantageous than power over because it is a self-developing entity. And also, it encourages cooperative effort, promotes superior understanding, and reduces conflict in an organization. Power over is an independent power which is used only for the benefit of the individual or group using it, while power with or joint power arises when two individuals or groups pool their power to arrive at a settlement satisfactory to both the parties. Therefore, power over is a coercive power, while power with is jointly developed coactive power. Follett argued that power with must replace power over. Authority and responsibility. As in the case of power, here also she developed new concepts of authority and responsibility. She made a distinction between power and authority and also defined authority as vested power, which is the right to develop and exercise power. According to her, authority is derived from the function or the job performed and not from the position held. Therefore, authority belongs to the job and stays with the job. One who does the job must have the authority whether the superior likes it or not. And as authority belongs to the function, that is the job, it cannot be delegated. She held that authority must be functional and functional authority carries with it responsibility. Therefore, she advocated the idea of functional authority or pluralistic authority and rejected the idea of final or the ultimate authority as an illusion. The real authority in the organization is therefore the sum of smaller authority that are interlinked at various levels in the organization. Now coming to responsibility, like authority, it is an attribute of the function and the situation in the organization. Follett said, it is a question of for what one is responsible rather than to whom one is responsible. And therefore she advocated the idea of functional responsibility or pluralistic responsibility, which connotes two things. One, lower level executives' participation in policy formulation, and second, workers' participation in the management. And therefore she rejected the idea of final responsibility as an illusion. According to Follett, a leader is not the head of the department or president of the organization, but one who can see all around situation and relate to certain purposes and policies. He is the one who understands how to pass from one situation to another. He is the man who can show that the order is integral to the situation. And she stated that such people are found not only at the top level but throughout the organization, even at the bottom levels of the organization. She was of the opinion that the leader not only influences his group but is also influenced by it. She called this reciprocal relationship as circular response. Finally, the function of the leader is to create group power, which is power with, rather than to exercise power, that is power over. So in this case, also Follett preferred power with in response to that of power over. Follett distinguished between the following three types of leadership. Leadership of position, in which the leader holds a position of formal authority. Leadership of personality, in which the leader holds forceful personal qualities. And thirdly, leadership of function, in which the leader holds both position and personality. And according to her, only those people who possess the third kind of leadership, that is the leadership of function, or the person who possess functional knowledge, lead in the modern organization, and not those who possess formal position or forceful personality. She also viewed that for the successful operation of an organization, it must be sufficiently flexible to allow the leadership of function to operate fully, to allow men with knowledge and the technique to control the situation by themselves. Follett also suggested 5 functions of the leadership, which are as follows. Coordination, that is to integrate different parts and weld them into effective unity. Definition of purpose, to clearly set the pattern and objectives of the organization. Anticipation, that is to have insight into and faith in the future. It is about making the next situation and not only meeting the next situation. To organize the experience of the group, make it all available and most effectively available, and transform it into group power. And lastly, to develop leadership among the subordinates. A leader should teach and train his subordinates how to control a situation by themselves. She believed that leaders are not only born but they can be made as well. Follett established a Therefore, she also believed that leadership can be learned. In fact, coordination as a principle of planning figured prominently in her work. She felt that central planning imposed from the national level over the local level is doomed to failure due to lack of coordination, that is, harmonious ordering of parts. Hence, central planning should be a mechanism to facilitate the coordinating process. She postulated 4 fundamental principles of coordination, which are as follows. Coordination by direct contact. Here, the responsible people should be in direct contact with one another regardless of their position in the organizational ladder. Horizontal communication is as important as vertical chain of command in achieving coordination. Here the people concerned should be involved in the policy making stage itself rather than at the later stage of implementation. Such an early participation results in increased motivation and high morale. This vital principle is largely ignored in terms of central planning. Next principle is coordination as a continuing process. Follett viewed coordination as a continuous process, that is, from planning to activity and from activity to further planning. There should be a permanent coordination machinery to solve the problems in a rational manner and a more scientific manner. Coordination as a reciprocal phenomena, in which all factors should be related to one another and the interrelationships among themselves should be considered. Thus, Follett regarded an organization as a system of interrelated parts. She also stressed that these 4 principles should be underpinned by information based on continuous research. Answer the following question by using the quotes given below. Here the assertion is made that M.P. Follett is the forerunner of the behavioral approach to organizational analysis. And the reason is given that she stressed the sociological and psychological aspects of organizational behavior. And as we have studied that she was the one who highlighted for the first time the sociological and psychological dimensions of administration and management, then both the assertion and the reason is correct. Therefore, the option A, both assertion and reason are true, and our reason is the correct explanation of assertion.